Swimming Upstream episode 60 something. I don't even know. I've lost count at this point.
66.
We're at that point. No, 66. There we go. Episode 66. And an awesome one in store. I'm excited for this, as is my boy Kevin Barral joining me as co-host as always. And of course, as you guys can see, if you're watching on YouTube or on video, we're here with an awesome friend of the show, third time on the show, third time being on the show as a repeat guest. And we're stoked to have him after what was a incredible last month, currently on a 9-game hit streak. We'll get to the baseball, but we also want to get to the non-baseball because this guy has a lot going on off the field as well. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to a lot of stuff. But Kev, thank you again for joining me on the show. I appreciate you as always. I appreciate your time joining us from what appears to be Florida International University, where you have an obligation there as well. But let's talk Marlins and Jumbo Shrimp baseball today with our boy Troy Johnston. But I want to get to you first. Talk to me about this player. Another solid year for Troy, bouncing back from a slightly down year in 2024, if we're being honest. But this year looks solid so far. This previous month was incredible for him, and that's why we're having him on to just recap what that was and what he's currently doing off the field as well. But tell me about Troy. We'd hoped to see this guy in the majors before now. Hopefully we still will. I'm confident that we still will because he continues to make inroads with this organization ever since he was in it to start in 2018 with the Batavia Muck Dogs. So tell me about Troy. Tell me about what he's doing currently. We're stoked to have him, but Kev, go to you first on what Troy is doing currently.
Yeah, excited to be on. This is the first time I'm giving a player analysis in front of the player. Oh boy! So
don't be too nervous. Don't be too nervous.
Wrong here. I have you to disagree. But...
Am I able to fact check you if I know it?
You can absolutely.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I will let it rip.
So I want to say Troy is putting up some higher exit velos than usual this season. Probably some of the best of his career. He's having a good year so far, as you mentioned, Carver having to play some left, first base, obviously moving in AAA. Happens, but overall, Troy's having an awesome season, probably his best since 2023, which was the year I want to say he had a 2020 season, stealing a lot more bases, already surpassed the 20 stolen base marker. So it's a cool aspect of his game they didn't have early on, and it's starting to use it now. So he's having an awesome season, as you noted, Carver. He definitely should be up already. Don't know why he's not up already, but hopefully at some point this season we'll be seeing Troy at Lone Depot Park.
Troy, is that all correct?
I think that was all correct, as much as you could. I want to actually touch on that, the whole exit velo. I think that's a really cool stat. I want to attribute that to two people in my life, actually my wife and my newborn, because of course dad's strength. But if you guys remember from my podcast, when I had the wives on, my wife was very adamant that I was using the wrong bats. I went and I switched up my bats with Chandler. I was like, hey, can I get this model so I don't have to tape it? Like, do all this kind of stuff. They gave me a different model. This year, they made it perfect. Could not be more perfect. And my wife, every time that I come in and tell her, I'm like, hey, I got a new exit velo PR. I'm hitting the ball harder. She's like, I told you that it was the bats. It was just need a little bit of a difference. And I think, honestly, that was the big difference between last year and this year of you're talking about higher exit velos.
Let's go. I want to touch on the dad strength too, though. Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about that first. We're going to get some non-baseball first. Of course, baseball is your thing. You're great at it. You're a dude. You're a guy. But let's talk about what I think you will agree that is the biggest development of your life recently, and that is that you're a father. So let's talk about this. You take a leave from the team. I think what was it? Late. I think they put you on the paternity list, like what late in
that first week of May.
Yeah, late in May. They get you on the paternity list, and then of course you come back not long after. But I mean, I know it must be difficult for you too with where your home is, and you're in Florida, and they're over there in Washington. And that must have been difficult for you, but you got to be there. You saw the birth of your child, and I just want to get your thoughts on how this has changed your outlook on life, really. I mean, not just baseball related, but obviously I don't know this and Kevin doesn't know this, but you do now. How does this development in life kind of change your outlook as a man and as a professional as well, trying to do your job this far away from home while you have a newborn growing up that far away? That must be difficult for you. But again, you were there with your wife, Haley. And I just want to get your thoughts on this development in your life and what this meant to you.
Fantastic question. I love talking about this. So first off, I'm going to fact check you one more time. So we actually gave birth in Jacksonville, and my wife travels with me 100% of the time. So she is, when you hear WAG, you hear baseball wife, you hear 2 feet in, she is there at every game. We actually, I want to say our daughter was at a game at, I think, 9 days old. And so she might have been one of the youngest Jumbo Shrimp fans ever to attend a Jumbo Shrimp game. But we gave birth in Jacksonville on April 27th. And so I had that week off, and it was unbelievable. The feeling you get from looking into your child's eyes and being like, I would do anything for you. It does not matter. It changes my whole outlook on baseball, because realistically, if I go 4 for 4 or 0 for 4, or I hit 4 home runs, she doesn't care. She does not care. She just wants me there. She wants attention. She wants me to make sure that her diaper's changed and she's fed and all that little stuff. But truly, it has actually gave me a new purpose in baseball and a new purpose in life, just because me and my mental strength coach, I don't know if you guys have heard of Marius, the Marlins guy. He is phenomenal, unbelievable. And he always talks about the why. Why do you show up to the field? Why do you do what you do? Why do you even want to compete? And when I look at my daughter, I'm like, this is why I want to compete. I'm doing this for her so that she can have financial security. She can be proud of me. She can be who she wants to be. And ultimately, with the way my career's gone, I want to show her that giving up is not an option. That showing her that no matter how hard it gets, no matter how difficult, how disappointing, you need to keep going, and you need to pretty much live out your dream. Because if I can't do that, then how am I ever going to show her that? And so that is one of the coolest things that I'm able to feel, because it is so emotional. It's so deep. It's so real, and it's so just empowered, that every day that I step into the box, every day I step on the field, I'm so grateful, because I'm doing it for her and for my family.
I love that. So something else you're doing off the field is your podcast, the Turn 2 podcast with Scott Kornberg, who recently got his big league call up again this season to call this last road trip for the Marlins. What's that been like? It's got a lot better from where you guys started to where it is now with the production and the guests. So how's that been for you, and just getting into the podcast world?
I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's such a good outlet for me. And I know Scott is already in media, but having such an outlet to just be able to talk baseball and to talk, really, I don't bring up stats. I don't bring up anything. Sometimes Scott does every once in a while, but if you actually listen to our podcast, like, as you guys know, it's really just who these people are. It has nothing to do with like them as baseball players. I love this quote that baseball is what I do. It's not who I am. And really figuring out what makes everybody tick and why they even got into the spot. Like, we even had, Dane Myers tell us that he did, he did dance. He was pretty much a ballerina there for a little bit. And, you can see that in the outfield. He's extremely athletic and light on his feet. Or you're talking about, let's see, who's another good one? You talked about Victor Mesa Jr. and his ties to Miami and Messi, and kind of how he came up very differently. Like, you're learning about all these different people and how impactful certain people have been in their journey to get to where they are. Because realistically, AAA, the big leagues, AA, the upper minors, a lot of people don't get the opportunity to experience this. And so we are a special breed of people, and we've had very different experiences. And having the Turn 2 podcast with Scott has gave me an outlet to really expose that and get it out to the world that we're actually real people, and we're not just, these animals that are behind the cage that you can yell at and throw food at and whatever, all this kind of stuff. We're actually people. We have feelings, and we have, desires and wants, and, we are humans.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of fans can lose sight of that fact when they're watching people on a TV screen. And, even my dad growing up, like Ted Williams, that was his hero. He was like untouchable, but no, he was a person too. Everybody's a person. So I think not losing sight of the human factor is really important. And I love that you fact checked me on the thing about Haley and that she travels with you everywhere. That made that answer so much better than my question was. So that was awesome. And kudos to her. What a a great partner for you. I've had the pleasure of meeting her as Kevin. So awesome. And we couldn't be happier for you guys. I guess to build off Kevin's question about Scott, have you had a chance to listen to his calls with the Marlins? Obviously, you know him from the Shrimp and your home run calls and everything else, but have you had a chance to listen to him with Kyle? And what are your takeaways about his time so far this season with Marlins?
Since he is a big leaguer right now, I try not to bug him too much. Hopefully he hears this. I try not to bug him too much because he's going to big league me. But I have been listening to his calls secretly. He does very well. And I think when there's an opportunity and opening, and if you want to talk about how difficult it is to get into that position, to be a major league broadcaster when there's only 30 positions, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. The competitiveness to get into that position. And so I applaud him again for trying to live out his dream, for reaching his goal. But I hope that he gets the opportunity to stay up there because he is really good at what he does. He's got a great voice for it. And he just rattles off these stats and these facts and everything so fast that I can't even keep up with him. So, but it has been awesome to listen to him call these Marlins games. I got a lot of friends, of course, up in Miami. And so hearing Scott probably be very comfortable talking about them and, former Jumbo Shrimp and stuff like that. It's very cool to listen to. And, I'm proud of him every day and thankful that he even wants to do a podcast with me.
Before we go on to the baseball stuff and like recapping end of last time we talked to you and then getting into this year is golf. Let's talk about this. You're a dude on the golf course.
My guilty pleasure.
I don't know if anybody knows, but Troy's a dude on the golf course. He's a guy. And apparently you told me your handicap. I'm like, okay, this guy's like a scratch golfer pretty much. So, I mean, is that really your game? How has it been lately?
How has it been lately? So my wife has a rule that since we have a baby, I cannot golf at home because I, of course, have to be present with the baby. It's totally understandable. Get it. But on the road, I have been golfing about 2 to 3 times a week. I'll go before games and get my golf in and play 9 or 18 holes. I've been pretty good so far. We played a scramble yesterday and we were 11 under. Had like 3 eagles, something like that. But I wouldn't say I'm a scratch golfer. I bought a brand new putter and I still can't putt. So whoever's out there thinking that a new equipment will help, it doesn't. It does not help. I'm still bad at putting. But I'm about a 4 handicap, so I can shoot anywhere from a 74 to an 84. I have no idea what'll show up that day, whether the course is hard, whether it's not. I don't know. But that is my guilty pleasure. I love golf. I love like all the little things that you can do to your clubs, how much technology there is. There's so many different new things out with golf, and it's so popular right now. But I don't think a lot of people know this about me, but you can look it up online somewhere. But I was a competitive golfer when I was 11 to 14. And so I played in tournaments around my general area. It's called the WJGA, the Washington Junior Golf Association. And I couldn't quite make it to the AJGA, which is the American Junior Golf Association. Those guys are really good. But I got a couple trophies back home, a couple long drive championships, and a couple first place. But I was much better at 12 years old than I ever could be now.
No, well, hopefully Isaac listens to that. Gotta face Isaac at some point.
I know.
There.
Well, we were supposed to golf this last spring training. I told him, I was like, dude, it's gonna rain, and he's like, no, I think it'll pass, and it dumped on him.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, we got to reschedule. We got to find some. So I owe him a golf round on me. Whenever I see him next, I will buy him a golf round at wherever we're at, and we'll go golfing.
I'll watch because I have no business on the golf course.
I suck.
I'll be the ride along.
I'm terrible. Fine. Yeah.
Hey, but see, I'm not competitive on the golf. I like to just have fun. It's my outlet to just have fun. That's all it is. Unless we're playing for money.
I want to talk to you about your experience in the Dominican Republic. You dove into this pretty deep into your podcast, which was awesome. Talk about playing for Tigres del Licey, how that went, and you had to flip games mid, like playoffs. Like how does that work? Just talk about that whole experience.
That was the thing that brought me back to baseball. It was so much fun. It was really, truly, me and my wife talked about it. It was life-changing. So I first got signed by the Toros del Este, which is on the east side in La Romana. So if you fly into Punta Cana, you're about an hour away. And then I played for them in 23 for a week because the Aguilas de Sabinas, I don't know how to say their name, but they offered me a contract. They never sent it to me, and I never signed it. And they were like, "Hey, we'll call you later. We'll call you later. We'll call you later." I was like, called my agent. I'm like, "Hey, I need to go play like right now." And so the Toros decided to sign me. Best decision I could have made is signing with them. I ended up playing a full season from start to finish for the Toros this last year in the winter. Realistically, I did it just because I wanted the experience and I wanted, they were paying me okay. But I absolutely loved playing down there. The energy, the people, the fans, how nice everybody really is to you. They treat you like an actual human being. You're not just cattle. You're not just somebody that's, going through whatever. You're just a baseball player. It's like you are a human being. What do you need? Do you need us to fly your wife out? Do you need extra pillows on your bed? Do you need, some bats? Do you need something else? Like, they treat you so well. And it's really cool to be a part of, just to have that experience. But the Toros, we struggled. Of course, we took last that year. And what happened was the last two teams in the league, if you don't make the playoffs, then your imports get entered into an import draft. So what happens with that is I got a couple calls like right after Christmas because I went home. Of course, my wife was pregnant at the time, so I had some appointments I wanted to be at. I went home and I accepted some calls, got different stuff. I have a really cool story right before this too, or right after this. I didn't end up getting a call from Licey at all whatsoever, but Jose Alvarez was kind of my agent, which is hilarious because, of course, he's one of the Marlins trainers. I didn't know he was doing this, but behind the scenes, he was like, "Hey, you got to go get this guy." And Licey ends up drafting me in the first round. I had an unbelievable experience with them. I cannot thank them enough for everything they did for me as well. The people in the Dominican are fantastic. I'm already signed to go back with the Toros this next year because I had so much fun. But playing for a championship where every pitch matters for 15, 20 games, and then playing in the championship where, again, every pitch matters, where you're standing across from Albert Pujols, you got Jose Siri over there, you got Junior Caminero, you got all these big leaguers, you got Gene Segura and Eric Gonzalez, who of course I played with. So It was funny because I would of course go say hi to him when I'm on second base, but having that experience was truly life-changing because I got to see baseball in a whole different light. I got to see baseball in a must-win situation at all times, which I haven't felt since college, truly. And it was so cool to be a part of that. It really invigorated my love for baseball. But cool story about that whole recruiting process and getting calls. I got a calls from the Estrellas. They were going to take me, I want to say in the first round as well. But the coolest part is my favorite player growing up was Robinson Cano, who of course plays for the Estrellas. And every time he'd come to first base, he'd talk to me and all this kind of stuff. It started getting to the end of the season when he of course was playing. And he says, "Hey, we need a first baseman. Would you want to come over and play for the Estrellas in the playoffs?" And in my mind, I was like, I don't think I'm going to go play in the playoffs. Like, no way. Robinson Cano is asking me to go play on his team. My favorite player. Cool. And of course, my wife is laughing at me because I'm, giddy and, looking. I've never been this way, with somebody else talking to me. But, it really brought attention that like, oh my God, I can do this. I can be a great baseball player again. And I can go and help a team in the playoffs and help my family and have this experience.
I guess that's an amazing story, by the way. And Cano's a star. But just that dichotomy that Kevin said about like you start with Toros that last day and then you wind up with Lacey. That dichotomy of like just like flipping dugouts for what it was like a few weeks, I guess, for the playoffs. We were able to like kind of get to know your teammates on Lacey. Is it like it was just kind of like, okay, here I am, and now I kind of just got to be myself. Like, what was your mindset after you flipped teams? After you made the swap?
So we only played 13 games, something like that. I think we won. I think we were like 12-2.
Yeah, they're going for the three-peat. Like, there's so much going on there, right?
Yeah, there's so much going on. But it's funny because I played against this team for 3 months, so they know who I am. They know what I can do. they've scouted me. They know how I play. They know who I am. And I always kind of had good games against Lycée. So that's also one of the reasons they wanted me. And I just think it was one of the easier things just because I knew all the guys. I've been playing against them. I didn't know them personally, but I've been playing against them. I'll talk to guys on first base, second, third, outfield, whatever it is. And so it wasn't as traumatic as you think. I think if I flipped dugouts and I was playing the Toros, I think that would have been different. But because I flipped dugouts and, the Toros were not in it, my team, I think it made it a little bit easier.
Got you. Understood. So yeah. I mean, you stayed active obviously during the winter. You're over there pretty much right up until the end. Like I said, they were going for a 3-peat. You guys didn't get it, but you lost to a good team, so it is what it is. But
it is what it is.
You come into spring training, or you're getting ready for spring training, I guess I would say, in 2025. What were you doing? Anything different that you did for an off season? Obviously, you probably went back home and did all that, but anything different in the preparation for spring training? You get invited again, all that. But was there anything different for you in terms of what you did to build up to spring training this season?
I love your question, but truly, I didn't have time to do anything. I had like 2.5 weeks when I got back from winter ball to when I left for spring training. So truly, there wasn't anything different. The only thing different was I kept playing. I tried to lift as much as I could, but the schedule there's tough. The facilities aren't great. I tried to stay strong, tried to figure out who I was, what I could do. But realistically, I mean, the biggest thing, and I just tried to come into this year and have fun. Because I don't know when my career is going to be over. I hope it's over in 10 years, but it could be over tomorrow. It could be over today. I have no idea. And so truly having fun every chance I get, I think is really what I came in with the mindset.
It's gone from like November, December, and then like February you're reporting. So I was like, that's probably a short period of time, right?
I think I flew home on like January 22nd, 23rd, and then left for Florida on the 15th. So it was like 2.5 weeks.
Gotcha.
Well, one of those parts was playing the outfield. You're listed as an outfield going into spring training. So I guess you had about 2.5 weeks to get that down a little bit, huh?
Nobody told me, but I was playing outfield for Lycée. So I was like, I'm an outfielder.
So what? Yeah, exactly. What did you take away from this past spring for you? Obviously, get into some games. You stayed up until almost the very end for the most part. So just what you take away. Unfortunately, option to AAA after that, but overall, pretty strong spring. It seems like with a new staff, a lot of new things that you guys were doing over there. A lot of new like technology being incorporated and all that stuff.
I did my best to not say no to anything, if that makes sense. I wanted to try everything they were pushing, everything that they wanted us to do in their program, in our development and everything like that, because realistically, I don't know what is going to unlock my next 1%. And maybe I can find it if I try something new. But realistically, I took away that this was a brand new staff. This is pretty much a brand new front office too, brand new people, personnel, that I just tried to meet everybody and tried to be the best teammate that I could. I hope that I made a positive impact in the locker room when I was in spring training. I feel like I did. But realistically, I just tried to be a good teammate as much as I could and try to make a positive impact, because that's all I can do. I can only do so much on the field. You're one guy on a whole team, but if I can make a positive impact and bring up the energy, the positivity as much as I can, I'd love to be that guy. That's where I feel like I thrive.
So just building on that, obviously the biggest difference I think for you this spring was that you were healthy the whole time. In 2024, obviously you had the ankle, you were doing really well, and then of course the ankle, and you missed kind of the rest of spring, and they optioned you, or they sent you down. Sorry, and there's all that going on. But biggest difference, other than staying healthy the whole time, which we'll get to in a second, what are some of the biggest differences from 2024 to 2025 that you noticed either around the park or in the clubhouse? What obviously you said there's new faces around. It's a whole new team. It's managers different. We'll get to that in a second. But what are some of like the main things that you saw around the team that were different, either vibe wise or things that they're doing that are different? Like, what are those main things that you saw that were different than your previous spring training?
So one of the cool things, and I this is how I interpreted it. They might have said it straight up, but this is how I interpreted it. You talked about stealing bases, that I'm already up to 21 bases. They literally told us, they said, we don't care if you get thrown out. And again, that's me interpreting it. They might have said it word for word. Don't quote me, but that's how I interpreted it. They said, we don't care if you get thrown out, try to steal bases. And so honestly, I think that was the biggest thing was, and you can see it in AAA. We are leading, I think, all of minors in stolen bases. Like we will run on anybody. If you are a .9
a lot of bases,
we will run on you. And I think that's the biggest thing is like just being aggressive and trying to put pressure, because a lot of what was talked about in the clubhouse is a lot of the games are going to be 1-by-1 run games. They know that we are a developing young team up at the big leagues. They know that there's not like a huge star power presence, but developing stars that are going to get there. And so they pretty much preach that we need to do all the little things right. And that's how I try to play my game. You guys know me. You have watched me for a long time. I don't have loud tools, but I feel like I do everything right. I feel like I play solid defense. I feel like I can hit when I need to hit. I feel like I can steal bags. I feel like I can throw. But again, none of it's going to blow you away. It's all just going to be very, very get the job done kind of guy. So I think that's kind of what they were looking for in the big leagues, was guys that just do all the little things right. And I think that's what you're kind of seeing is like a lot of the guys up there are just doing the little things right. And then now they're kind of pushing into their stardom, especially, I got to shout out my guy, Agustin Ramirez, who is showing his power output. He is showing his big tool. And so that's kind of what they needed up there. And it's really cool to watch.
Just talk about Clayton and just what you noticed, your initial impressions of him and the coaching staff. I know you had Carson Vitale on your podcast as well. You said he was your favorite coach amongst the staff there. So just talk about your initial impressions of the staff and the way that they went about things, and it's not just the major league staff. The minor league staff is completely new as well across every level.
Yes. I think the biggest takeaway is they want the best for their players. They want whatever you need. They want the best for you. And I feel like that's a breath of fresh air in the sense of that we can now be ourselves and we can play and be ourselves and go out and try to be our best selves because we know that our coaches have our best interests in mind. I had some interactions with Clayton, not as much as others. I had more interactions with Carson, who, of course, being a Northwest guy from Victoria, we had a lot to talk about. But I truly think that everybody, the coaching staff, has our backs, and they're willing to do whatever we need for us to reach our goals, whatever it is, whether it's make it to the big leagues, make it to AAA, make it to AA, make it to overseas, whatever it is. They want to help us reach our goals.
I want to talk to you about another new guy for the Marlins in town. Not a new guy for you, but a new guy for the Marlins. You spent some time with him in AAA this year, but you went to high school with this pitcher, Janson Junk, your guy.
My guy,
so
yes.
Talk to us about this relationship. Just backstory, when me, you, and Isaac were talking about playing golf, which hopefully we'll get to this spring.
Yes.
We'll see what happens, or eventually. You had said, yeah, I'm bringing Janson. He's my guy. So like, all right. And then I looked at him like, oh yeah, they went to the same high school. Wow. Okay. That's pretty cool. So Janson Junk, I'm doing pretty well. I honestly think that, on a team that is still, I think, trying to carve out who their 2025 All-Star or All-Stars may be, that this guy may have a chance. I mean, I think he just threw like 5 innings the other day, and because he was needed to do that, and he did pretty well. But yeah, this is your dude. So tell me about this relationship with Janson, high school, and now you guys are on the same team. So go ahead.
I mean, you look at his last name, he's gross. He's junk. He's gross. And I'll fact check you one more time. So he actually went to, I want to say it was Decatur High School. I think he went to Decatur. I went to Rogers High School.
Ooh, okay.
We played high school summer ball together, and that's where it probably came in. You probably heard high school, and he played.
Okay.
So we played high school summer ball together for the Kent Bulldogs, and he was a junior when I was a freshman, and we played on the same 18U team. And then I think he was a sophomore. I was a sophomore, and he was a senior, and we played on the same 18U team. But he's always been gross. And then he went to Seattle U, and we played against each other. We never faced each other, but we played against each other. And you can look up the stats. He has absolutely owned me in the minor leagues. If you look at the underlying data of what he throws, if you're talking pitch plus, stuff plus, all those stats that the Marlins are truly like valuing right now, it's really, really cool to see how good his stuff really is. Because it's not only his ability to pitch, his ability to throw strikes, it's his ability to get swing and miss because his pitches are so like, he's got a ride fastball, he's got this nice sweeper, he's got a good changeup, he's got all these different pitches that he can throw for strikes, and that's what makes him so overpowering. I think he just needed a longer leash because, of course, he debuted with the Angels. I thought that was so cool because he was the first person that I truly like personally knew to debut in the big leagues. So I remember texting him, and he was like, "Yeah, it's so cool, all this kind of stuff." And then, of course, he goes over to the Brewers, and I think he was with Houston for a little bit too. But he goes over to the Brewers, really didn't get a very long leash with them, and now is getting an extended look with the Marlins and finally doing what I know he can do because he is gross. He is Janson, the junk. He's just getting an extended look, and he's actually showing people what he's worth and what he can do.
Who has the better mustache?
Definitely him. He's got the beard to go with it. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have the beard. Mine looks like the Lorax. Mine looks like I'm speaking for the trees.
There we go. Talk about your guy, David Carpenter, your AAA manager. What were your initial impressions of him? I believe former player, so that helps a little bit with the relationship there and that staff over there in Jacksonville. Your initial impressions of those guys?
Again, for the same exact reason, they want the best for their players. Of course, they have their career, they have their job, they know what they want, but they will die for their players. That's how close this team is right now here in Jacksonville. It's kind of sad to see people leave because we have such a close-knit, I feel like, team, close-knit connection. This is the first AAA team that I've been on in the last 4 years that I've seen the least amount of movement. Like, it's been kind of crazy to not see guys getting called up every 3 days. Like, especially last year when they made 75, 80 different
That was
moves.
crazy, yeah.
And so being a part of such a close-knit group, it kind of feels like we are an actual team again. And it's not just, hey, we're the JV team. When they need a guy, send a guy. When they need a guy, send a guy, that kind of thing. Somebody got traded, whatever it is. It's like, we're playing to win down here. And Carp really leads us in that sense. He brings positivity every day. He jokes with us like he's a player. He's always in the locker room. But when it's time to be serious and it's time to realize that we need to win and we need to get the job done, he's also that guy. So realistically, everybody on our staff truly just wants the best for us. Just like I said, just like the big league staff does as well. They really, really care about their players, and I think that's really awesome to be a part of.
I especially wanted to ask you about another new guy on the coaching staff, and that's Marjama. This guy, I mean, you may know him because he was a Mariner, or maybe you didn't. But
I did. I do know him because he's a Mariner.
You may know him because he was on the Mariners. I guess you did. But new hitting coach, and he got a pretty significant boost up the ladder in terms of where to go with player development. So, just thoughts on this guy as a hitting coach. Like I said, he went from, I think, pretty low down the minor league ladder all the way up to AAA, which was pretty cool to see. Former player himself, he was a catcher. Thoughts on this guy? He's replacing Colburn, former Marlin, who's now no longer with the organization. Wish him the best. But Marjama seems like a nice guy. I met him in spring training. Thoughts on him?
Of course, I talk to Colby every once in a while. He's my guy. He's awesome. He's having a great time over with the Phillies. Got an awesome job. When he retires, I want his job. It is a fantastic job. But
what's his
job? I cannot say, huh?
What's his job?
It's like a special assistant. He travels once a month, a couple days, and just plays tennis and hangs out at home and then gets paid. But he also has 15 years in the big leagues, so he's got the pedigree.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so back to Marge. I cannot say enough nice things about him. He is, again, will do anything for his players. When I make fun of him all the time, he won't put the iPad down watching swings, seeing how we can get better, diving into different stats. We actually had a talk last week, and we were noticing where people are throwing me, like pitch usage, different stuff like that, and why I'm getting into certain counts and doing certain things. If you look at it, they are absolutely dotting changeups at the bottom of the zone. So, and I'm not hitting them. I don't have the swing to hit him. I don't care to hit him. Nobody hits those pitches. Nobody hits an 80-mile-an-hour changeup that clips the bottom. Nobody hits that ball. So he came to me and he said, look at this. This is a glaring deficit in your game. You hit the up pitch great. You hit anything up, anything out, anything in, whatever it is. You hit it great. But if they throw you anything at the bottom of the zone, you're not hitting that changeup. You're not hitting that pitch. So just eliminate it. And then I went out and I started. I think I walked like 4 times this week, which I haven't done all year. And I started walking and I started seeing the ball better because all of a sudden I'm like, okay, that's a glaring part in my game that I can directly translate to the future. And he just thinks about those kind of things. He's always thinking about his players. He's always thinking about how we can get better, what we can do as a team. And I don't envy him. He has a very difficult job because he is the buffer between the players and the front office right now. And it's just a difficult job because the front office has expectations and they have an agenda that they want executed. And of course, we got a lot of AAA guys that are trying to execute their agenda. We are trying our best to do everything we can to win, to implement this technology, to use all the things that the front office is, the tools that they have given us. And it's hard because sometimes it doesn't seem that there's enough time in the day to do all of it. But Marge has been a fantastic bridge on that. I hope that this gets to him and this gets to the front office, that he is doing a phenomenal job because all the players love him. He has our backs. He knows baseball and he knows how to try to get us better. He's not just there for his career only. He's here to get us better because he truly cares about us.
I guess I just wanted to ask you about this Shrimp team as a whole. You just mentioned winning games. I'll ask you about this. This team's pretty damn good in the first half. In the first half here, 43-26. They're 3 games behind for the lead in the division. I think Lehigh has it with. I think they're 3 games over right now over you guys. But you guys have a shot to make that happen and to win the first half, which would be incredible. So just what is clicking for the team overall, other than coaching, which you already just mentioned, but you guys all care about each other. You guys all are teammates, obviously. A lot of you guys have been together for a little while. You have some guys that are rehabbing. Davison's rehabbing. There's been some, there's been some ebb and flow, I think, so far throughout the year in terms of how this roster has kind of stuck together. But I think overall, the talent has maintained overall for this team is what I would say. And the Marlins becoming that feeder system, they have more guys that are coming up that I think will just only add to it. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on how this team has been able to win this many games. That winning feel in the clubhouse that you guys have, you've had it before. I know you've had it before in your career. Does it feel the same as that? Does this feel like, hey, this team's a winner? What are your thoughts on that winning mentality? In the minor leagues, winning, of course, becomes secondary to development, but you guys are at the highest level of minor league baseball, and you're winning. That's got to feel pretty good.
It feels unbelievable to be able to walk into the clubhouse and know we're going to win every single day. And when we lose, it's almost a surprise. So I think that's a testament just to, again, the fact that they went out and got guys that do everything right. Not only do we play good defense, we pitch, we got good bullpen arms, but I think the biggest difference is we steal bases. Marcy gets on with a bunt single and it's almost an automatic triple. That just happens. We move runners. Leadoff guy gets on. He's ready to steal second base. We don't usually bunt because we don't need to. We steal bases. So the teams that bunt can't steal. Where we can steal, we're gonna steal and execute every single time, even if we get thrown out. It does not matter. You want to steal with 2 outs and a lefty up? Great, steal, because the next pitch is going to get spiked and we're going to score a run. We just put so much pressure on other teams that it's hard to keep up with us. There's not many teams that have been able to stop our run game. I want to say Durham might have been the only one. But teams like Gwinnett, teams like Rochester, teams like that are kind of, lower level AAA teams as of right now, we execute stealing bases very well and we put a lot of pressure on their pitchers. And if you've ever been on the mound when you know somebody's stealing, there's a good chance you are either going to throw it right down the middle or you're going to throw it a ball. So if we can jump around a little bit, we can get some momentum, we can steal bases, we can put more pressure on the pitcher. Now we can execute at the plate because we're getting better pitches. We are going to put more pressure on the pitcher. Now the pressure's on the pitcher. It's not, hey, we're playing for the 3-run home run because, we can't, hopefully there's 2 singles and a homer. Now it's like we can get a single and we're probably going to score a run because next guy's going to walk, next guy's going to hit a sac fly because we stole second and third, different stuff like that.
Yeah, you mentioned it, the stolen bases. You guys have 155 stolen bases this season. Marcy leading with 38, you with 21, and then Maximo with 19 right after. But talk about what's been working for you. You're on a 9-game on-base streak. You have a 118 WRC plus in the last month, close to a 300 batting average, almost 400 on-base percentage. What's been working for you specifically?
I've been trying to work on my timing best I can. I noticed that at the beginning of the year, I worked with a couple different stances and a couple different things just from spring training, from on. I've been trying to pull the ball as much as I can because, of course, that's where the power is. I really just think the timing and trying to pick a pitch because I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been hitting leadoff, which I think is hilarious because I haven't hit leadoff since high school. But I've been hitting leadoff because I tend to get on base a little bit more. And so I kind of like that spot because I can literally just look for a middle pitch. I'm not hitting in the 5 spot, the 4 spot where they're going to throw me 6 changeups and it's not going to matter. It's like I'm probably going to get a fastball middle at some point during my 4 or 5 at-bats. And I just think trying to be a little bit calmer and trying to get better every day because realistically, that's the only thing I can do. Like we talk about, it's, I show up every day and I try my best for my family to make sure they have insurance and a paycheck and a roof over their head. So, if I'm not trying my best and trying to get better every day and trying to tweak little things so that I can maybe, reach that spot, that 1% to get better, then of course I'm letting my family down. So.
Awesome answer. I mean, I think just even where you're at in your career, just still committed to being better overall is a testament to your work. And it looks really good, as Kevin said. I mean, like 9-game on-base streak. The last month was incredible, as Kevin alluded to, at the 118 WRC plus. It's great. I think we've mentioned this a couple times already. You alluded to it organizationally, and the Marlins are not only doing this at the AAA level. They did it as low as the FCL, DSL level last year, where the FCL teams to like 200 bases, which was absolutely insane. And they're doing it again this year, even at those levels. So it would seem like that mindset of being aggressive on the bases is organizationally and not just a AAA. But anyways, for you specifically, as Kevin mentioned already before, the 21 stolen bases, I think it's 21 still, which is great. So I just wanted to ask you, you've said to us previously about your mindset on the bases where if you get to a certain spot in your secondary lead that you can steal a base. So you just do it. Is that still your mindset? Are you still doing that consecutively this season? Is there anything different in your mindset on the base pass with new coaching and whatever it may be and how you've been coached? Or are you still just kind of that, hey, if I get here, I'm going?
So it's interesting you bring that up. So if you notice, David Carpenter is actually our first base coach, which is very different as a manager to be a first base coach, but he's also our base running coach. So what the organization wanted was to have the base running coach leading the base runners at first base. So he's talking, he's like, hey, this is the time. Let's get like a 6-foot lead, jump to 12, sit. If you get it, go. Or, hey, go to 12, hold. Go to 9 feet, hold, jab, make movement, do something like to mess up, make sure that they know you're there. And the crazy part about it is I do something a little differently, which I think I've been trying to bring up to the organization, and it's hard to execute because everybody on the team has to be bought in on it. But getting in the box later. So if you get in the box later, pitchers tend to take a long time to get ready sometimes. The guys that don't, awesome, good for you. But a lot of the pitchers will get in. So if you get in the box at 9 seconds, they're not really giving the sign. They're not pressing the pitch comm. They're not doing anything until about 8 or 7 seconds. So what that means is now all of a sudden they get the sign at 7. He takes a look. He takes a breath. He's going 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. He's getting set at 2 and 1. I don't care if I get, again, they said they don't care if we get thrown out. So if the clock hits 1, I am stealing. I am just taking off. Because if not, If they decide to pick over to first and I am already halfway to second, there's a good chance I'm safe. If they decide to throw to the plate, there's a good chance I'm standing up on second. I'm going to try to keep that a secret best I can, but, of course, now I said it.
Yeah.
But trying to jump the clock, I think...
Yeah, we'll have to edit that out. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's good because I think it's learning the game. It's learning how to play the game. It's learning how to go about it. And I've been doing this a long time. JD Orr, if you guys remember him, taught me how to do this in AA. And I was like, I really want to try to steal bases. And that's when I went 2020. And I started doing this. And then I get to the organization this year and they're like, okay, you already know how to do this. Like, will you be some examples? Will you, like, how do you have so much feel? I'm like, I've been doing this for 3 years. Like, this is not new to me. It's just, you told me you don't care if I get thrown out, so I'm just going to go. And realistically, if I jump clocks, if I jump looks, if I jump all that stuff, like we're talking about, again, trying to do everything right, not have the big power presence, the big arm, the big defense, because I know myself, I'm 27, I'm not going to have that. I already know who I am as a player, but if I can do everything right and exploit what the pitchers, what the hitters, what position players are doing wrong, and I can get an advantage on that, then that's where I see that I am a valuable player.
One big change was the ballpark in Jacksonville with the new renovations and all that stuff. You had mentioned that feels like a big league ballpark, and hopefully at some point Carver and I get the chance to get up there. But just how do you think the ballpark plays now? That ballpark, obviously, the dimensions I think may have changed a little bit. It's a new batter's eye, I want to say, you said.
Yep.
So just how does that all play? And does it change the way maybe you guys do anything, just knowing the way that ballpark plays a little bit? Now I think a little more pitcher friendly.
Yes, it is extremely pitcher friendly right now. I think it looks fantastic. I applaud them for putting in the effort because it really does look really good. But I'll give you a stat real quick. I want to say the Charlotte team, a lefty, hit one to the corner. So like the corner of the big right field wall and then the center field wall. So like it was probably exactly 400 feet. He hit one at 110 at 30, and it did not hit the warning track. To just give you some kind of example of what we're working with, I do not try to hit it in the right center gap in the air. I either try to go down either line or hit a single. And it's like literally, if you hit it in the right center gap, it's out. It's an out. You will not have any hits over that way unless you hit it perfectly or the wind's blowing out to right somehow. For some reason, though, anything left of the 400 sign out in center field, the ball flies. Like, I think I had a home run at like 95 or 94 miles per hour to left field, something like that, just when the wind blows out to left. But it does play like a large ballpark, but the surface is incredible. The atmosphere is great. For some odd reason, everybody loves a Thirsty Thursday. They must have really good drink deals because everybody shows up on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Yeah, I mean, I love that park. I love being there. I've been there multiple times. It's great. Hopefully going to get there. I plan to get there this season before the end of the year. But anyways, one more on this that I wanted to ask you about, kind of intertwined with the park.
Sure.
You didn't play a lot of outfield last year. You were mainly a first baseman. So I know you have experience playing outfield. You did it, as an amateur, and you did it previously with the Marlins. They moved you to first base. And now you're back in the outfield. As you said, you played in, with Tigres and with Toros de Este a little bit in the outfield. But coming back to a park that now has, especially in right field, I know they have that new thing in right field where the walls are different and all that stuff. You play both corners. So has it just been like getting back on the bike for you in terms of playing the outfield? Are you comfortable? What is your comfortability factor playing the outfield in minor league baseball again?
100% comfortable. I have no issues with it. It almost seems like a DH day sometimes, because at first base, if you've ever played first base, you are in every single play at all times. You have to be somewhere. But in the outfield, especially the corner outfield, if you hit, they'll find a spot for you in the corner outfield. And if you look at my numbers on reaction grade, distance, everything like that, like, I've been pretty good so far. It hasn't been, I think I'm above average on just about everything, but maybe not arm strength. I had a nice little 80 mile an hour throw the other night that nobody ran on, but but other than that, it's like riding a bike. It's nothing crazy. It's just go play fetch and go catch the ball.
I guess we can get to two more before we get out for the day today. I'll ask the second to last one. And I have to ask this question just because we know where you're at in your career. We know where you're at in terms of what could happen next year. I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to bring that into the atmosphere. But I have to ask you this question. When they make a move, let's say Mervis gets DFA'd, or let's say Conine gets injured and, he's out for a while. And in your mind, hey, I can fill that gap. I can do that. I can go be an outfielder that hits for decent power, or I can go be a first baseman that will be a bat in the lineup. Are your ears ringing at all? Is it like, are you staying around your phone? Are you calling your agent? Is this my time? Or are you just still Troy? Are you still controlling what you can control and doing your job and being the best person you can be for you and your family? I know what your answer is going to be, but I would have people screaming at me if I didn't ask you this question about, hey, does he ever think about getting called up? So go ahead.
Of course, since I was a little kid, it's been my dream to play in the big leagues. Yes, of course, I've thought about those kind of things, that I was an option, but that's the biggest thing in AAA is you have to keep yourself an option. If you don't keep yourself an option, you're never going to be an option. And so, of course, it's disappointing. I would have loved to be the guy, but the guys that they called up are having had success and they've done well. And, I hate to say it, but it is what it is. And you do have to control the controllables. It hurts. It's disappointing. And, especially at this stage of my career when I've been so close for 3 years now. But realistically, I have to look out for myself and I have to look out for my family because that's really who I'm doing this for. There's 29 other teams, but I'd love to be a Miami Marlin if they call my name. But, until I have a flight booked, I will not believe anything that's heard or said. I do have to tell you, though, I have been off X Twitter for about 2 or 3 weeks now, but the amount of positivity and the amount of support that I've gotten on social media, I can't thank everybody enough. You guys have been awesome. I see it. I want to like it. I want to respond. I want to do all that, but I have to keep my professionalism. I love seeing all the positivity. Me and my family, we can't thank you guys enough for supporting us for all these years. I know you guys want to see me up there. I want to see me up there, but just keep going on the good fight. And again, I thank you guys so much because we do see it. We really do appreciate it.
Last one for you here, Troy, before we get you out of here. You have over 600 minor league games played under your belt. It's been a long career. What is a favorite moment of yours that you've had so far? Maybe a play or a game or just a season that you've enjoyed a lot the most or that you still kind of think about till this day?
Well, of course, my 2023 season when I was pretty much every other at bat I was hitting with bases loaded, 1 out. And I think that was by far my favorite. If I could pinpoint one game, I mean, it would have to be probably my favorite game was I felt just absolutely untouchable against I want to say it was Biloxi, and it had to be in July, June, something like that, end of June. And I had 2 home runs. I hit one the other way, and I literally told myself at the beginning of the game, I'm like, I'm just going to hit one. I'm going to pop one up to left field. Ended up popping one up to left field, and they got out. Then they brought in another pitcher, and I absolutely love when this happens. I did this the other night. And I love when it happens, when they bring in a pitcher just for you and they have a meeting and the first pitch goes way out of the ballpark and you're just flipping your bat going, hey, nice pitching change. Way to go, buddy. And so that day was probably one of my favorites just because, of course, I had 2 home runs. We were winning. I think we won in June. I think we won 21 of 23 games or something like that. It was just incredible. But that 2023 season was fantastic, and I know it ended the way I wanted to with being in Miami and accepting the award, talking to you guys. But I think that's probably my favorite year that I think about.
Awesome. Well, I know there's going to be plenty more great moments to come for this man in his career. A great dude, a great friend of our show. Again, always willing to give us his time and answer anything that we may have for him. This was great. I really appreciate it. Me and Kevin both really appreciate this insight. I appreciate the fact checks as well, because if we're not accurate, we're not doing our job on our side. So
Exactly.
I appreciate the fact checks too.
Some of it's
great.
like inside information. You wouldn't know. Some
Yeah, no,
That's
put
true.
it down. We love it. No, we love it. So that's Troy Johnston on Swimming Upstream. A great dude, like I said. I know we will see this guy in the major leagues, and I hope that it's in
100%.
Miami Marlins colores very, very soon. So Troy, man, again, we can't appreciate you enough. We can't say enough. Congratulations again on everything that you have accomplished this year, on the birth of your child, which is amazing, and on being a new dad. And thank you again so much for your time. We really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate Fish Family.
All right, there you go, guys. Troy Johnston. We'll get out of here for the day. Troy, keep going and doing it. We'll see you soon. That's it for this one. We'll see you next time. Swimming Upstream.